Hello students, welcome to chapter 1. This is our first day in the textbook. Let's pull it up, shall we? Alright, so here's the digital version of our textbook. Chapter 1 is called, What Does a Historian Do? It's a great question. We're in world history, we should probably know that. So that's a lot of what we're going to talk about. Today will be just this sort of introductory video. If you like to read and you're a fast reader, it might be a good idea to just take a look at the whole chapter. It's up to you. That's the first thing I do as the teacher when I'm preparing to teach a chapter, is I just read the whole thing. It doesn't take very long. It's not, there's not that much. But today, this introductory lesson, there's not going to be an assignment for this. Tomorrow is vocabulary day, so you're going to learn the vocab and then have a quiz on it. The next day, we do lesson 1. The next following day is lesson 2. And then, you've guessed it, the following day is lesson 3. Then there's a test review day, and then the day of the tests. A lot of our chapters are going to work like this, you'll see. A good pattern. So, lesson 1, we're going to talk about why study history. So we're going to talk about the why. Pretty good question. It's the thing I usually harp on in my history classes. A lot of kids say, why do we bother to learn history? Well, it says it here. Basically, so you don't repeat the mistakes of the past, and you have some context for making decisions in the future. We're going to talk about periods of history. We spent a lot of time in section 1 talking about calendars, the different types, where they came from, and why. There's a little bit on the end on timelines, but a lot of it's why study history and calendars, like basically what is history. Lesson 2 is going to be how does a historian work. Basically it says, alright, we know what a historian is now, and we know why they do what they do. How do they do what they do? We talk a lot about using evidence from the past, the difference between primary and secondary sources. We also talk about bias. You're going to learn about bias in the lesson, but the short is it's an unreasoned emotional judgment about people or events. It's basically when you have an opinion and it sort of works itself into your work where it's not supposed to be. For example, if I'm doing a historical study on pizza, but I don't like pizza, that's probably going to show in my work. That would be an example of bias. We talk about conclusions, interpretations, things like that. Lesson 3 is sort of a lesson on how a historian will do a research project. Now, we're in advanced world studies. That means we're probably going to do our fair share of research projects. We're advanced. I can't just give you a bunch of multiple choice quizzes, right? Generally, the first research project we'll do is ancient Egypt. And instead of having, intro day, vocab day, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and then study for a test and take a test, I'll give you a project at the beginning, and you have throughout the course of the chapter to do the project. Last year, I gave options. One of them was like a slideshow on how the mummification process works. I give the option to write a paper about a pharaoh of your choice, things like that. Try to give you options, and you'll be doing a research project. And you'll know how to do it because of lesson 3. So that's what we're looking like for chapter 1, our very first chapter. It's a good place to start. So, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, an email, or give me a call. However you want to contact me, feel free to go ahead if you need to, and take a look at this, and we'll get started on the vocab tomorrow. Have a good one.